Hello everyone, it's Coach Carol, and today I'm going to take you on a little journey into a new tool that I'm fascinated by, and I hope you will be too. The new tool is actually not one tool but many, and they're all housed together in a site called Abacus.ai. I love the name, really suiting the whole notion of genealogy in that it's a combination of the old and the new. An abacus with artificial intelligence, or as I like to call AI, amplified intelligence. But this new program has kept me engaged for the last week, so I'm a fairly new user, but I'd like to introduce you to the world's first AI super assistant built on the state-of-the-art generative AI technology. And part of it that I'm most intrigued with is Chat LLM, which is their super AI super assistant for small teams and individuals. So I'm going to show you that. But when you want to get started, you'll just go to Abacus.ai and then you'll choose the Chat LLM Teams and then you'll sign up. It does require you to commit some money, $10 a month, which is really very good for what it gives you. And you get the first month free. So once you've checked in and you've paid your money, you'll get access to the tool. I'll take you over there now. So here we are in my Chat LLM. Even more difficult to say than Chat GPT. So I'm just going to call it Abacus because I quite like that term. So I've got it set in the dark mode so that all the features show up nice and brightly for you. And I want to show you some of the things that you can do and the ways in which you navigate around the tool. On the left-hand side is your navigation bar, and you can switch that on or off. Saves a little bit of real estate on your screen. And you'll see highlighted that we're in a new chat for today. And it shows me with another highlighted colour the conversations that I've had in the past few days. I like that part already. Easier for me to see what I've done and what I want to do. In the middle, you'll see that you have a choice when you click that link for a selection of these tools: Chat GPT 4.0 and GPT-4 and 4.0 Mini and Claude Sonnet 3.5 and Gemini 1.5 Pro. So these are the top big ones, and you've got them all inside here. It's also got 2 versions of Llama. I've not tried those out yet. And you can also create your own custom chatbot in here. Whenever you want to communicate in Abacus, you select your tool at the top, like so, and then begin your chat. The beauty of it is that you can use different tools in the same chat. So I'll show you that when I demonstrate in a moment. Some of the other things that you might consider over here on the right-hand side is this little 3 dots where you can share, and that will enable you to copy the link and share it with other people in your team. And then above that, you can click into your settings up here, changing it from dark to light. And you can also customize your Chat LLM. And because I've chosen Claude at the top here, these are the custom instructions for Claude that asks you to put in place what you would like it to know about you, which I've done, and then how you want it to respond to you. And you'll notice in this case that I've asked it to sign off as Claude at Abacus. Now I can have my instructions for each of the tools different to each other if I want. Only a slight difference that I've put in place here. The chat GPT-4, I've just asked it to sign off as chat at Abacus. And you can do that for any of the tools that you've got in here. And of course, if you make changes, you need to save it. I'll just cancel out of that for the time being. Now, let's get started on getting this tool to work with different types of prompts. And the rules of prompting are the same as you might have used in any of the other tools. Make sure you have a purpose. Make sure you give it some instructions about what role it's playing. You need to say what context you want it to respond in, and then you give it your task. So on the left-hand side, I've got a couple here to show you first of all. This one I think you'll find of interest. The ancestral code generation. I've been working on my archiving for my family history, and what I've asked it to do here is to create an ancestral code for each person in the first 5 generations of my cutting family tree, which is my maternal line. And the instruction is the code will be composed of the first 3 letters of the surname, the first 3 letters of the forename, and the year of birth. And below it's given the tabulated list. And you'll see what it's done. Given the name of the ancestor, and then its ancestor code, which is first 3 letters of surname, first 3 letters of forename, and the year of birth. But how did it know all that data? What I've added to this conversation is a copy of the Ahnen-Tafel report from Ancestry. And it was a simple matter of going over to Ancestry and copying that information and creating a little PDF. But you could do it as a complete set of text that you just copy and paste if you want. And then when you put it in place, you can ask for the same sort of information. And so you can see here, it's got all of that information in place for me, and it's signed off as chat at Abacus as I had required. I can copy all of that down here, copy the response, and place it wherever I want to. That's one really useful thing you can do. If I'm creating an ancestor profile, over here, this time using Claude Sonnet 3.5, and I've asked for, I wanted to analyse the facts that I've given it about my grandfather, Charles Harry Newland Cutting, and to prepare an ancestor profile for him from the family history archives. And I've put in place this time a Word document, which is simply a copy of the information that I have about Charles from Ancestry. And I'm using Claude Sonnet 3.5, and he's done exactly what I asked and given me a little narrative based on the data. The ancestor profile for Charles Harry Newland Cutting, 1871 to 1955. He's then given subheadings such as birth and early life, siblings, marriage and family, and picked up on a point here that one of their sons died in infancy in 1907. Looked at the occupation and residences, and that's from the census details that are in the document. And then finally, later life and death. So we've got a neat set of text that we can use to pop into place in our story development area. So once again, you can copy that, or as I've done here, is I can scroll through everything, especially if you want to keep the formatting that is shown on the page. I tend to do it that way. or you can simply copy the whole thing and place it in your Google Doc or Word doc. So that's another really useful thing you can do. I can change the tool when I'm in a chat, as I mentioned before. So the chat that I'm using at the moment is called Grandfather Ancestor Profile. And if I now want to go to GPT-4o because I want to have an illustration of him, I can change the tool and then make my request. So in looking back through the details of my grandfather, he was employed, or he was an employer, as an ironmonger, had his own business and his shop. So I'm asking it now to create an image of him as an ironmonger. Spelling here. And I've got, yes, that's fine. And then activate that. And what ChatGPT-4o does in here is it looks at my instruction and says that it can't actually generate an image, but it can. I really find this a little bit strange, but I want to then just pick up on that amount of information, and I'll use that in a new chat. I'll just do it in a new chat. And we'll see what it does with that. All right, and then ask it for an image. There we go. Now it's generating an image. So be prepared to push the limits of the tools in here. Don't let it get away with saying, no, I can't do it, because I know it can. And when you're in GPT-4 on its own, you can create images in there with DALL-E. But in this version, inside Abacus, not only will it create an image generated by DALL-E, but also one by Flux. Flux.1. I've not used that tool before. I quite like this image that it's given me. And the beauty of them in here is that I can download, and it will allow me to create a JPEG image straight away. So then I put it in place in my folder system, giving it its name, etc. So those are 3 different ways in which I can make use of the tools inside Abacus. What else can I show you today? I've got some other historical illustrations over here in this chat. And once again, it gives you 2, and you choose from them. And if I want to start a new chat, I'll just click on new chat, and then I can start using any other tool in here. So we looked at GPT-4, we looked at Claude. Let's have a look at Gemini. And we'll give it the same sort of information that I did to create the ancestral profile for my grandfather. I'll just pause here and get that document. So I've now added a file, which is the Ahnentafel details for Charles Harry Newland Cutting. And this time it's in a PDF format. So I'm hoping that it can read this. And then the instruction is to analyze the data in the uploaded document and create an ancestor profile for my grandfather. See how Gemini handles it. Not very encouraging and very, very short. It certainly had a look at the details and has got those correct. but it's not enough for a big profile. So I'm learning in Abacus which tool for which task. So I much prefer using GPT-4 and I think we used Claude. And that's the nice thing. Inside the chat, it will tell you which tool you've used for which portion of the responses. So 2 of those in that chat. So it's an exceptional program, and I really do recommend that you have a look at it. Set yourself some time, as I'm doing over the next few weeks, and I'll be back with more tutorials once I learn more new tools and tips for using Abacus.ai.